chipping around the greens, if you're someone struggling with chunking, thinning, poor contacts, poor distance control, or just generally want a simple guide as to how to chip around the green, this is the perfect video for you. We're going to cover a few simple concepts that are going to get you stopping these, thinning and chunking your way around the golf course. So step one, let's get set up correctly. The setup is enormously important. If you have a poor setup when chipping, you can either guarantee your chances of a really good contact, or you can make it much less likely just by having a poor setup. So quite often what we see with people who struggle chipping is a really wide stance. The weight is too evenly distributed, we're not left enough, and from setup, the head, the chest and the belt buckle tilted behind the golf ball. This basically moves the lowest point of the swing back, and it just makes you so much more likely to have poor contacts. So we definitely don't want to see a wide stance, we definitely don't want to see even weight or weight on the back foot, and we definitely don't want any tilt back. That's going to get us going this way. Not ideal. So when we are setting up to chip, what we want to try and do is start with a really narrow stance, 1 to 2 club heads wide. The left foot flares out slightly, so it's not pointing straight ahead at 12 o'clock. We are going to turn that out to about 10 o'clock. This is what helps us get a little bit of body rotation, still required for chipping. We're going to put more weight on the left leg, and more importantly, what we're looking for at setup is this T shape. So when we set up, obviously the right hand's slightly lower than the left, but we want a T shape where the shoulders are fairly level, the spine is fairly neutral, rather than this look. If you see this look, if you see spine tilt back, you see the right shoulder a lot lower than the left shoulder, that can definitely encourage poor chipping. So we want to look for this T shape, try and get that there, try and get level. And the 3 things that we want to think about is when we're setting up, we want the head, the middle of the chest and the belt buckle at the very least in line with the ball, or slightly to the left. If we can get ourselves in that position with the narrow stance, with the weight to the left, and from there standing slightly closer than normal, that puts us in a really good position to start chipping well. So we're down the handle, we're also coming slightly down the grip, we're stepping in slightly closer than normal, the butt end of the golf club pointing somewhere on the belly button or slightly above, definitely not below, and then from there, that's us set in a good chipping setup position. Ball position, dependent on the flight that you want, but in general, central to slightly right of centre for a stock chip shot. If you want it to go even lower, you can play it further back in the stance. If you want it to go higher, you can put it forward in the stance. This video is just for stock chipping to get your consistent contact. So centre to right of centre with the ball position, 1 to 2 club heads wide, flared left foot, head, chest, belt buckle, on the ball or to the left of the ball. Those are the key points we want to try and make sure we are doing before we start the swing. So from there, let's give that a try. We'll just do those setup points. Club face, fairly square for this one, no need to open or close it too much. So nice contact. That's with a 54, hence the high flight. From this kind of position, probably using anything between a 7-iron and a sand wedge, depending on the flight that you want to try and have, is probably the right play. For beginners, if you're looking for something easier, it definitely is easier to use 7, 8 or 9-iron from here. We've got the full green, you can make a small swing, makes it easier to strike, and just use that length of the green with that small swing, and you've got a much better chance of good contact. Once you keep practicing that, that becomes easy. You can start to go for the slightly longer swings once you've got the confidence with the smaller swings with the less lofted clubs. In terms of the swing motion, there's a few things that we're looking for, a few key points that we want to try and hit. So when we're chipping around the green, we want to keep that weight on the left leg. That is a given. We don't want any unnecessary sway off the golf ball, so keeping the weight left is absolutely crucial. A great drill just to check if that weight is on the left leg is just to hit some shots with your right heel slightly off the ground. Keep it there throughout the whole motion, and that will give you the feeling of keeping the weight left. Another key checkpoint we want to hit when we're chipping, we don't want this club head travelling too far on the inside. We want to keep that going slightly in front of the hands throughout that whole motion. Wrist hinge, we don't need too much wrist hinge, although that's preset in the setup. By having higher hands, you're less likely to hinge the club too much. So we've got the weight left, there's not too much hinge, club head's in line with the hands. Those are the key backswing checkpoints we want to hit. And then in terms of downswing and follow through, once we're in that position there, we really just want to continue to rotate the body and finish with the club low. So downswing, rotate, chest is going towards the target, but the butt end of the golf club is pointing at the left pocket. We've got a low finish for these chip shots. So set up, rotate the chest, and have a low finish. Obviously, the less lofted the club, the lower the finish is going to be and the smaller the swing is going to be. But these are some key checkpoints. So if we split it into setup, we want a narrow stance, left foot at 10 o'clock, ball position, middle to slightly right of middle. Upper body, we want the belt buckle, the chest and the head in line or slightly to the left of the ball. This should put our weight on our left leg. From this angle here, we want to be slightly closer and slightly more upright than normal, and that sets us in a position to not have the club head travelling inside too much and to not hinge the wrists too much. The backswing checkpoints, we want to keep the weight on the left leg, that is key. We want to keep the club head in front of the hands, and if anything, the head and the left hip are moving to the left, keeping the weight left, encouraging a really good contact. Downswing, follow through checkpoints, they're pretty simple. What we want to try and do from there is make sure we rotate through onto the left side, chest to the target, but club head finishing low. There's no need for any flick of the wrist. This is more a body driven pivot, finishing that club nice and low. These are some key checkpoints for a chip shot. Obviously we've got the setup, which is crucial. Start with that, focus on that. A lot of the time I see in lessons, people don't chip well because of their setup. Their swing motion is normally okay, but if you improve the setup, you also improve the swing with it. Lots of people who are really wide, move off the ball. Lots of people who stand too far away, roll the club on the inside. So a lot of problems can be solved purely through setup. If you found this video useful, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, comment below any other shots that you struggle with and you want to see some tips on the channel. And if you're looking for any freebies, check out the description link below. We've got a few freebies for you. You can get a free golf lesson where you can send me some videos and you would get a personalised video. And there's also free weekly and monthly golf tips. So check those links out. And as always, thanks for watching, implement these tips and start improving your chipping.